Hi, my name's Kat, and today I want to talk about being on the internet. As I post one of my first videos, at least like in this style of video, on the internet. And I want to share about what being on the internet means for me and why I'm making a video on YouTube in the first place. So, I'm a child of the 90s, and I know what it's like, at least for a brief period of my life. I knew what it was like to wake up and not have access to the internet. But for the most part, I have always had access to the internet, and I've always had access to share my thoughts and to share my writing, specifically on websites like Zanga or Twitter. And that was like a really important and formative part of my life because it gave me this platform that I could be taken seriously because it was purely my own thoughts and purely my own feelings, but also not take it seriously at all because it constantly felt like pouring something into the void, and then suddenly, oh, someone says hi on the other side of the void because they're also pouring themselves into the void, and then you see each other and you're like, hey, we're both pouring ourselves into the void, and actually I like the thoughts that you're sharing, and you're giving me a surface area to engage with your thoughts in kind of like a slower manner, and I like that. I really liked sharing little tidbits and feelings on the internet. And I've done that mostly as of late on Twitter between 2020 and 2025. And actually, my time during the pandemic was probably one of the most socially flourishing times of my life. Not in person, but online, because I actually found a lot of communities through Twitter who were doing this really interesting hybrid of, yes, we all have Twitter accounts, we all interact through Twitter, but we also are interested in meeting face to face as far as like joining like an online community, such as like the Stoa or Interintellect, that actually like put you in a Zoom room and allowed you to attend events and like meet people, like, or see people's faces that you otherwise would only interact with anonymously somewhat, like through your timeline. And because I've been posting constantly on Twitter, I never got famous, but I made a lot of friends, honestly. I was really lucky that I came across a corner of the internet where people were kind, and when I met them in person, they actually became my friends. I think there's a whole story time here talking about those specific people and the qualities that they had that made them different from other people that were, I think that having discernment about who you meet through the internet is very important, but just focusing on the bright side of the way that the internet has changed my life. Actually, like a lot of my friends who went to my recent wedding, I met them through the internet. And so I'm now entering this world where video production and video storytelling is really interesting to me. And as I'm learning more about what it means to tell a story, what it means to put myself on the internet, what it means to hit record and produce something that would keep someone's attention, I'm also thinking about what makes this whole process interesting for me in the first place. And it's really just about making friends and finding the others. And so that's what I wanted this first video to be about, kind of like a why am I here and what's this all about and who am I, and sort of lay the foundation of what I'd want to post. And I actually love YouTube. YouTube is one of my favorite platforms. Out of all the platforms, I like it more as a consumer than Twitter because I like the fact that I can put it on my living room TV. I love comfy, cozy kitchen videos. I am obsessed, beyond obsessed with like videos where one person is just cooking for a family of 10 and having like produce chopped in perfect, beautiful containers. I just love like kitchen cooking videos. I love ASMR cozy videos. I love videos where people are making you laugh and making you think and teaching you something while having like really good energy about it. I love like cozy videos, but I also love something that makes me giggle and laugh and just vibe and feel like people are in the room with me because I am like a natural extrovert if you've ever met me in person. So some of the video topics that I'd like to make are perhaps being in my 30s, about cooking for sure. I love cooking, about Notion. I love watching videos of how people are creating their own spaces in Notion, and I could see myself making videos about that. I love reading. I love hosting. I love Los Angeles. I'm born and raised Angelino, and so I have a deep attachment to feeling that this place is my home, as big and massive as the city is. And so I'd love to talk more about LA, communities within LA, and the subcultures that I like following. I've been more and more into like tea and matcha, specifically what it means to like sit slowly with tea and have your day start with something meditative as drinking a cup of tea. I worked roughly 8 years in a combination of like ed tech, and event production. And there's a whole story time about what my corporate life and my career had been before I took about a 2-year sabbatical. And here we are, roughly around the 2-year mark of making a video and realizing so much is possible creatively when I let myself, again, a whole other video. I think there's a lot of things I want to say and talk about, and I'm creating more of the structure for me to feel confident in saying that and sharing that. So I hope you are here. Actually, I have no idea if you're here. Who knows? I love the feeling, going back to what the stories I was telling earlier, I love the feeling of actually putting something into the abyss. And I hope to protect that feeling as much as possible, where it just feels like my own little corner of the internet where I can say things and have fun. Yeah. So I'd like to post a video every Friday. Probably just like a story time every single time. I hope to get better at taking different shots and maybe scripting things and learning how to tell a story more creatively. Education is a huge part of my career and things I love, and I've always been in love with how the internet has democratized access to high quality education. And I love people who make e-courses, and I love people who make tutorials and videos on YouTube. So as I say this out loud, I mean, I'm realizing what a place of love making videos and YouTube has been for me. So my goal is to release a video every week, mostly to make sure that I'm continuing to learn this craft, and to create in public and to solicit feedback, to be in conversation, and see how I like doing this in the long term, because the goal really isn't virality. It's about craft and learning a new skill, and part of that is learning how to do it publicly. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself, who I am, why I'm here, and what I hope to do on this channel as I record a video and put it out every week and challenge myself creatively and with my storytelling and with learning all the different gear that is involved with making videos. If you yourself have made videos, I'd love for you to talk in the chat and share with me what your experience has been like. Where are you at in the journey of putting your face on the internet and talking about yourself? My hope is that I make some really cool friends, just like I have through Twitter over the last 5 years of sharing little tidbits about myself. So yeah, I would love to hear from whoever finds this video.